Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Oh man, that feels so good when I do that, man. Just feels good to be here. Um, welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special WWE edition of Pizzles Picks. I am, of course, your host, Don P. Pizzle, sole proprietor of Club Pizzle, host of Pizzles Picks, full disclosure, and a bunch of other shit that I do. Um, Before I get going here, what I need y'all to do is to go to Scene Magazine's website, click on Best of Cleveland, and vote for Club Pizzle for best sports podcast in the Best of Cleveland edition. I am really going for that award. I'm gunning for that award. I want that award. I need that award. I have to have that award. Understand me when I say that. Okay. That's neither here nor there. We are gathered here today. This is the first of many content pieces on the WWE. I'm gonna do some wrestling. I'm gonna start with WWE. Eventually, I'll move up to doing AEW. Eventually, I will move up to doing TNA. I will go to New Japan. I'll talk some NXT stuff, even though that's a part of WWE. But as of right now, like, this gives me an opportunity to talk professional wrestling slash sports entertainment. NWA, I can't leave out the NWA as well. This is just my way of getting myself together for that. I told you I was going to use Pizzles Picks to do my picks for premium live events, fresh off of the WrestleMania one that was successful. Thank you guys for tuning in to that. And I'm going to continue because, hey, y'all, we got a PLE today. Backlash France takes place today at 1 p.m. There are 5 matches on the card. I'm going to give the picks for those at the end of the show. Again, y'all know what it is at the Happy Hour Network. We are here for a good time and not a long time. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of stuff. I have a few things that I do want to cover. I got a couple of news things that I want to get to. And I also want to start by recapping this week's draft. I'm going to start with night 1, SmackDown. I'll just run through the picks. There were 4 rounds on night 1. There were 6 rounds on night 2. I'll get to other picks, whatever. But let's start with night 1. In the first round, the first overall pick was none other than Bianca Belair, which is a huge deal. It makes you think that something like they do have big plans for her. They do see her as a big deal. The second pick was Jey Uso. The third pick was Carmelo Hayes, and the fourth pick was Seth freaking Rollins. Again, very interesting. SmackDown picking Bianca number 1 overall, and then coming back and bringing in Carmelo Hayes, who has carried and has been the number 1 guy at NXT for quite some time. And it seemed like Raw just stayed status quo. Round 2, you had Randy Orton for SmackDown, Braun Breaker for Raw, Nia Jax for SmackDown, and Liv Morgan for Raw. So they're breaking up that little party there, and they add another Samoan to SmackDown. I mean, here's what it is there. Round 3, LA Knight for SmackDown, Ricochet for Raw. SmackDown took the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman, and Raw took Sheamus. Now, notice I said the bloodline was Solo Sikoa and Tama and Paul Heyman, because at the top of SmackDown last week, it was announced by Paul Heyman that Roman Reigns withdrew himself from the WWE draft. It's not surprising, especially with what we know about him taking time off and not slated to be back until right before SummerSlam, whatever the case may be. I mean, that's other storyline stuff that can be discussed at a later time, and I will discuss those things on later WWE shows. And finally, in the fourth round, SmackDown took AJ Styles, so AJ Styles back. Well, AJ Styles back on SmackDown. The house that AJ Styles built, remember, that was his whole thing when he got there the year, like those first few years that he got there, or that first year he got there. SmackDown was the house that AJ Styles built. I do like that. And it kind of correlates with Cody being the champion and being his first, and AJ being the first opponent. It's kind of awesome. Raw takes the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, Otis, and Akira Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree. SmackDown takes Andrade, and Raw with the surprise pick of the night, taking Kiana James from NXT. And again, and the picks that were announced after SmackDown went off on social media on Friday night. SmackDown takes the OC, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. So that leaves the door open for the club, per se, AJ, Anderson, and Gallows, to continue to be a faction. SmackDown takes Baron Corbin, and they also draft the tag team of Cedric Alexander and Ashanti the Adonis. It just seems like those guys are going to job out, and I hope not, because both of those guys have so much potential, and they both are so good. Give those guys a shot. Give those guys a run. And on the Raw side, they took Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, which kind of makes sense, and they also took Alba Fire and Isla Dawn and Ivar. And that's kind of funny. They took a bunch of women and Ivar. Honestly, night one last week on SmackDown was kind of like blah, because it was okay. Nobody really took anybody. I think Andrade might have been. It was like everybody just stayed where they were for real. To be honest with you, it was like blah. Yeah, Braun Breaker and Andrade I think it was those two that swapped places. It just was what it was. It was kind of blah. Now let's get to night two. Round one, Raw got to pick Raw got the first pick on Monday night, and they took Imperium, Gunther, and Ludwig Kaiser. Notice there was a name missing from that. We'll get to that later. SmackDown took Jade Cargill. Again, SmackDown with their first picks on night one. They took Bianca Belair, and on night two, their first pick of the night was Jade Cargill. Keep these two women together for as long as you possibly can. Let them be a team, and it'll build, and let that storyline just go the way that it goes. And I like it. I do. I like it. Raw took Damage Control, which takes them off of SmackDown. And Kevin Owens was taken by SmackDown, and KO stays on SmackDown. Now, these rosters are final May 6th. Like May 6th, everything changes over. All of the ones who are on whatever brand go to those brands. These things lock on May 6th, which is the Raw after Backlash France. Round two, Raw takes CM Punk, so Punk stays on Raw. SmackDown takes the Pride, Bobby Lashley, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, and B-Fab. They remain where they are. Raw takes a returning Braun Strowman. It's kind of a surprise that I wasn't expecting Braun Strowman. So that means them taking him in round two as high as they did. There are going to be some big things in store for one Braun Strowman. And SmackDown takes Tiffany Stratton. We'll talk about Tiffany when we make our picks at the end here. Round 3, Raw takes the LWO, Rey Mysterio, Zelina Vega, Jacqueline Wild, Cruz del Toro, and Carlito. And SmackDown takes Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Angel, Berto, and Electra Lopez. So it splits up this whole thing with all the Hispanic guys going at each other. Raw takes Drew McIntyre, and SmackDown takes Shinsuke Nakamura. It's funny that Punk got drafted around before Drew. That ties into their storyline that they have going on. Kind of funny. Love it. Shinsuke Nakamura to SmackDown. Let's just hope that Shin is not made into be a mutt. Or just like, hopefully them taking him in round 3 here, Shin gets a run. Maybe he gets a run at Cody again. Who knows? Round 4, Raw takes the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, Dirty Dom, and JD McDonough. So these guys remain on Raw with World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest. And as I didn't state earlier, all the champions on each brand remain safe. So Damian Priest, Sami Zayn, and R-Truth and Miz remain on Raw as long as they're champion. If they would have got drafted, they would be on that respective brand. And Cody Rhodes, Logan Paul, and A-Town Down Under remain on SmackDown as tag team champions. Oh, and Bayley stays on SmackDown, and now newly crowned Becky Lynch remains on Raw. I want to throw that in. So Damian and his Judgment Day guys remain. That gets to advance the storyline, which I think I have a pretty good idea where it's gonna go, and it's gonna end with Damian being all on his own. I mean, I could see him doing programs with Finn and Dom. I mean, JD is all right, but JD just isn't something to write home about. Naomi remains on SmackDown. They took her. Raw takes Ilya Dragunov. And SmackDown takes Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. So these are like the last two are new. Ilya comes from NXT, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven come from Monday Night Raw. I like the Dragunov pick. It gives us an opportunity somewhere down the line between this and next year's draft to possibly get a matchup between Gunther and Dragunov. And if you guys watch NXT UK, y'all already know how those two guys, it was 2 bangers. Just go look them up. Go watch them. It's 2 bangers of a match. Round 5, Raw takes the New Day. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. SmackDown takes Pretty Daily, Elton Prince, and Kit Wilson. Those guys remain where they were. Raw took Lyra Valkyria, and SmackDown took Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Congratulations to Lyra coming from NXT. A lot of NXT vibes going on here. I love it. And in the final round that was announced on television, Raw takes the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Ekam, and Razor AOP, and Paul Ellering. SmackDown takes DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. So 2 tag teams switching brands here. Raw takes Big Bronson Reed. He remains there. And SmackDown takes from NXT, Blair Davenport. After announced on social media, SmackDown takes Apollo Crews, Giovanni Vinci, and Tegan Knox. So they're going to give Giovanni Vinci a solo run. I can see this guy being a mid-carder. And there's some possible matchups there for him. And Raw takes Natalya, Kaden Carden, Katana Chance, Odyssey Jones, Dijak from NXT, Julius Creed, Brutus Creed, and Ivy Now, and the New Catch Republic are all on Monday Night Raw. Of course, Raw is going to have more guys or more picks because they are the longer show. But the tag division on Raw looks pretty lit, as well as SmackDown. The women's divisions on both sides. Dijak is a very interesting one because I don't know if it's going to be a face or a heel or what there. But overall, like, Night 2 was a little bit better because we saw more superstar switching brands. Like Friday was just like status quo, just one switch, and other night it was just more. I'm honestly looking forward to this to see what they do on May 6th, starting with the Raw after Backlash France. Um, quick news. Drew McIntyre re-signs a multi-year deal. Seth Rollins signs also he re-signs a multi-year deal. That's good news for WWE. And congratulations to Ricochet for being crowned the first ever Speed champion. If you don't know what Speed is a X/Twitter exclusive type of thing that they have going on where guys have matches and they all take place in under 3 minutes. And Ricochet came up with the victory there. So congratulations to Big Rick for that. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, y'all. The namesake of this show, Pizzles Picks. Backlash France taking place at 1 p.m. today. Hopefully you guys are awake for it. Oh, by the way, this is on YouTube and on Spotify at the same time. In the morning, or like it's at the same time. So there. I don't know the order of the matches. I have no idea the order of the matches, so I'm gonna just run through. Tag match: Randy Orton and Kevin Owens take on Solo Sikoa and the debuting Tama Tonga. This match, I believe, is gonna be one of those that advances the bloodline storyline. And I think with Orton and Owens, they've been a big part of the storyline. Owens, of course, with the Usos and Sammy and that whole deal in War Games. And Randy Orton, who was put out by the other iteration of the bloodline. I think Solo and Tama come out on top. And I think we finally see the debut of Jacob Fatu. And if y'all know about Jacob Fatu. This bloodline storyline thing, this whole idea I have in my brain about what's going to happen with this bloodline story is going to be absolutely crazy. And I think all of this is going to culminate at next year's WrestleMania. This spring and this summer is going to be crucial with the bloodline. Don't think because Roman lost and Roman is away that this story is over. Solo Sikoa has shown that this thing is far from over. It's just another part. This is almost like another, like, we're going to see. But I got Solo and Tama getting a win with a little bit of help from a debuting Jacob Fatu. The WWE Women's Championship is on the line in a triple threat match. Bayley, the champion, steps in to take on Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. I got Bayley for the win because I just don't see a world where she goes through what she goes through, storyline purposes, for her to drop this title to a returning Naomi and a young Tiffany Stratton. Now, don't get me wrong. Tiffany Stratton is a future women's champion, right? Naomi, I think it's just like, I love Naomi. That's my girl. But there is like, she's just like, it's just story. And it's just giving Bayley some opponents. I think they're keeping the seat warm for somebody else. I can't say Charlotte because her husband is on the other show. I don't know who that other person is. Is it Jade? Is it hell? Who could it be? there? Could it be Nia? Could it be one of the newer people? Could it be who knows, man? Like I'm looking at something. I mean, Tiffy is a huge deal. Chelsea and Piper, absolutely not. Candace and Indy, Blair Davenport is a rising star, but I just don't see it there. Tegan Knox, or there could be some free agent signing where they could top Bailey, but maybe they're just keeping a seat warm for Jade somewhere down the line. But I got Bailey for the win. World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest versus main event Jey Uso. Again, I don't see a world where Damian is a transitional champion, and if he's going to transition, it's definitely not going to be to main event Jey Uso. Jey Uso does deserve a singles championship. I just don't think it's going to be this one. I believe somewhere down the line, he's going to be the one to take that belt off of Sami Zayn and not Chad Gable. That's just how I feel about that. Maybe Jay wins Money in the Bank. We're far away from that. I'm just going to throw that out there. And the WWE Universal Championship. Or is it the undisputed WWE Championship? I don't fucking know at this point. WWE, give me something there. Cody Rhodes, in his first defense, takes on AJ Styles. Now, you couldn't find a better first number one contender than AJ Styles. He's especially on the heel side. AJ, to me, is one of the best in the world. Him and Seth are just two guys that are so good. I mean, again, like the story, like they're trying to build it and they're trying to it looks like they're trying to just put in guys from Dusty's past, or so has some kind of connection to Dusty here. Again, AJ being one of the best in the world, both of them having similar stories, both of them had success outside of WWE and coming back and winning the championship. Cody wins. The story continues. And that's that, ladies and gentlemen. That is Pizzles Picks. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will have more wrestling, pro wrestling, sports entertainment stuff for you guys. I think I may do a recap on this thing Sunday or Monday or sometime during next week. Remember, next week there is no Club Pizzle. It is Mother's Day weekend, and I will be out of the city, possibly. I'm going to just take a break. I will be doing some content next week. I just don't know what. I just don't know what day. Y'all just look for your names to be tagged in stuff on Facebook. Y'all know what it is, man. Always protect your peace, protect your energy. The message is more important than the messenger. And creators, be great. Stay positive, because negative energy is trash. Peace, y'all.